wasn't muted. And that only the co-chairs and presenters will be able to speak as we move through the agenda. Following the presentation, as we move through the agenda, the co-chairs will call on members of the public wishing to speak. You can go to the raise hand feature button below, not the wave hand or thumbs up button, as those disappear. Press the raise hand button once. If you press it up the second time, it will go down. If you're calling on your phone currently, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute yourself. Be on the lookout for a prompt asking you to confirm muting once the co-chairs call on you. The chat is available for technical support only with help with Zoom software. And not to ask questions of the co-chairs, as they will not see the chat. If using an older version of Zoom, you may need to go to the React menu, Participant menu, or a button that says More on the side to find the raise hand feature there. If you plan to speak during the meeting, please change your first and last name to be put into the record so we may know who is speaking. And please do not raise your actual hand at the screen or wave at the screen as we have people to see you. Chat with technical support.
Thank you, John. I'm Judy Schneider. I'm co-chair of the Parks Committee. My co-chair, Felice Farber, will be late in joining us tonight. She had another engagement, so I'm not quite sure when she will be coming. But let's start with the first item. Could you unmute Mubin, who will introduce... Oh, Felice is here. Welcome, Felice.
Good evening, everyone. I'm actually not very successful in opening the Zoom on my laptop, so I'm just going to work from my phone. John, are you able to put up my presentation?
Yes, hold up for 1 second. My apologies.
No worries. In the meanwhile, thank you so much, Judy and Felice and John, for allowing us to present today. We look forward to it, and I will try to restrict my comments to no more than 10 minutes.
Just getting the presentation pulled up.
No worries.
You able to see it?
No. Now it is. Now it's up. Okay, go ahead, Mubin.
Thank you, John. John, actually, you can skip to the next 2 slides. Yes, and the next one. And the next one. Yeah, we can go to the one after, and I can begin. Again, as I said, good evening, everyone. My name is Mubin Siddiqui, and I'm one of the founding members of a wonderful nonprofit called Muslim Volunteers for New York, Inc. And I'm here to talk a little bit about an upcoming event at Rupert Park in your district. So before we begin that, I wanted to give you just a few comments about who we really are. So John, if you can skip to the next slide. Muslim Volunteers is a community service organization serving the greater New York City area. We serve Manhattan, all the surrounding boroughs, and we work in 4 major areas: education, where we work with over 30 schools, colleges, and universities. Most of the schools are in New York City. Then we have alleviation of hunger and poverty, where we work with a wide host of other nonprofits and partners to serve New Yorkers at large. And we do a combination of drives and curate volunteering opportunities across different projects. And that can range from book drives, food drives, school supply drives, essential clothing, hygiene products, musical instruments, and the like. And we also do volunteering activities such as delivering food to homebound seniors or bagging produce. Our third platform is Health, Wellness, and Community, where we mostly work with Ronald McDonald House. And our last but not least is our environmental stewardship and park beautification platform. And here we work with New York City Parks and Parks Commission to advocate for sustainability of urban green spaces. Next slide, please. Please feel free to jump in with any questions if anyone has it during the course of the presentation. We have been serving Rupert Park, which is in your district on 90th, between 90th and 91st Street on 2nd Avenue. We've been serving it since 2015, but in 2017, New York City made us, New York City Parks made us stewards of the park, and we have been serving it as stewards ever since. That is the team that manages the park and supports all its activities. Next slide, please. Those are just, we wanted to give you a quick visual of the banners when we first started. It was a very special event for us. We had probably our largest volunteer group in the very first event, which was 160 volunteers, and the white banner with the pale green leaves represented that first year of service where we celebrated Earth Day and really focused on environmental sustainability. The yellow banner to your right is the banner that the event we had in May of this year. And the next few slides will really showcase some of the visuals from that event, and many people here on Community Board 8 were also present. Next slide, please. Wanted to talk a little bit about what we've done for the park since we started. We do 2 semi-annual stewardship events where we plant for spring and fall for the entire season in those events, and also beautify the park. We've done 17 such events to date. We also host community engagement events in the summer months. We've done about 7 to 8 to date, and they are typically concerts in the park available to anyone and everyone, and fun and games for children and their families. We receive an annual grant from Council Member Julie Mannon, and we're very grateful for her support, which allows us to do the kind of work we do at Rupert Park. Obviously, we cannot do this work in isolation. We work with Partnerships for Parks, New York City Parks. We get tremendous support from Community Board 8, for which we're extremely grateful, and we appreciate your advocacy and outreach, elected officials, social media sites, and of course, the nucleus of it all are volunteers. Next slide, please. I wanted to give a little bit of sense of the impact we've had since we started at Rupert Park. To date, we have engaged over 1,836 volunteers to come and serve us here. They don't only come from the neighborhood, they're from all over New York City. They're from the tri-state area, as well as other states. We've even had volunteers that have come from as far as Chicago, St. Louis, and the UK and Pakistan. The volunteers have spent and exhausted 5,508 hours of service to date. We also provide community service letters when students or anyone else requesting them ask for it. And these hours do not include the community engagement events that we do, which tend to be even larger in number in terms of attendance. We plant typically anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 plants. 1,500 is at the low end of the spectrum because that was the COVID year. So that was an aberration, but typically on average, we plant about 2,500 plants or bulbs in any given season. And we bag approximately 20 to 25 bags of rubble and rake leaves, etc. Next slide, please. Of course, in order to advocate for this park, we have to use a wide variety of tools. One of the things we do is provide inspirational quotes about environmental and urban green space sustainability. We do that through inspirational signs at the event itself. You will, we hope when you come and attend it on coming Saturday, you will see some of these inspirational signs. We also certainly provide them on our social media sites such as Instagram, Facebook, and X. Just to engage and encourage people to remain committed to this cause. Next slide, please. MV for New York also belongs to a civic table that advocates for some of our work with City Council, and we have been, the focus of that advocacy really has been safeguarding urban green spaces and getting funding for it. Next slide, please. This is one of our earlier photos. The rest of the photos will be from our last event in May, but just wanted to give everybody a sense of how various communities and groups come together to, engage in this very beautiful activity of, improving a city park, which becomes a haven for so many of us. So you can see many members of the Community Board 8 are there, and in that particular photo, we even have members from Community Board 7, and we have elected officials from all over the city, and of course, at the heart of it all are volunteers. Next slide, please. Just we'll go through the next few slides fairly speedily. Just wanted everyone to have a sense of these are photographs from our last event at Rupert Park. Many of you came and we are grateful for that and we hope you'll come again. But these are our volunteers that came. They painted the concrete red. This used to be a very dreary gray concrete and it has become the nucleus of the park. Everybody's attention is brought to that. Of course, we plant plants, we mulch 2 acres of land there. The northeast part has become the dog run now, and the southeast field has really been transformed from all the mulching because it's now a fairly green acre of land. Used to be completely barren and bone dry. Hopefully, all of this will change with the new park. Next slide, please. We also provide you complimentary refreshments, free giveaways, and if you can go to the next slide. There are beautiful eco-friendly arts and crafts. I've already had a glimpse of the ones we will be providing at the next event. So I would encourage all of you to make your way to the eco-friendly craft table. They're beautiful, something for young ones and adults to take home and retain for a while. Next slide, please. Urban ranges are a popular highlight of the event. They provide our young ones a lot of information about safeguarding our flora and fauna. And the same park ranger has minimally always been there, even if other team members come. So he's become quite a fixture of this event, and we're very grateful for his work and support. On the left, I've actually put a photograph of Trisha with Elizabeth, who runs the Upper East Side Dog Collective. It's just to showcase that we work in concert and harmony with so many groups to make this wonderful event happen. And the Upper East Side Dog Collective has been very kind and ensures that dog owners do not disturb the event while it's happening so that we can mulch the Northeast field for their dog run. Next slide, please. Also intrinsic to this park event is, next slide, please, and the next one. Intrinsic to this event is also music. It energizes all the volunteers. And so in in May, we had a live band, but minimally, we always have recorded music for everybody. So these are photographs actually from your last event. You can see there's a wide variety of students of all ages that you see, because we do work in concert with 30+ schools and colleges. Many of them and their green groups make it to this place. So Rupert Park is really represented by all of Manhattan and surrounding boroughs, where people participate in so many different ways. Next slide, please. This year, for the first time, my colleague Sahar Hussain, who is also a member of your wonderful Community Board 8, participated in the first ever Tree Count 2025 initiative. For Manhattan, we tagged and counted the trees at Rupert Park. And that was really a very informative and illuminating exercise. And would encourage anyone, if you haven't done that, please, this is still ongoing in the city, and please participate in this. Next slide, please. We have expanded our work over the years to include John Jay Park and Sycamore Park. And we do, we've done everything from painting and beautifying and cleaning these 2 spaces, and hope to get more engaged with them. Next slide, please. This is just a glimpse of our community engagement events. These are very popularly attended. At its largest, we had over 300 participants in an evening program. And I love this because people of all ages and with all abilities are able to attend. Next slide, please. Before we go on to our upcoming event, I just wanted to showcase this slide just to give you a sense of how we keep our communities across New York City engaged in not forgetting about city parks. Is we have a summer virtual series where people can send in visuals of their favorite green space, wherever that may be here or around the globe. Would encourage members of Community Board 8 and our neighbors in the district to please submit. We give you a shout out and we will identify the location. It inspires us as well to see so much beauty surrounds us and how wonderful that is for mental and physical health. So next slide. We can skip the next slide and go to the next one. We have, excuse me, did anyone have a question?
No.
Okay, so over the years, we've had, of course, extraordinary support for Community Board 8 and so much advocacy. Judy and Rita were kind enough to be in attendance last time. Felice always rolls up her sleeves and always gets down and does a lot of work. So grateful for all of your support in so many ways. And Will and John and everybody, your outreach through your own newsletter and social media is really very essential, and we're very grateful for it. Next slide, please. The elected officials and VIPs have been also a source of great support from the very outset, from the very first time we did our event. And we have everyone from the Congresswoman down to our council members and other dignitaries such as Consul General, etc., in attendance. And the purpose of that is just to advocate for the need of our park and to make sure that people never forget the recurring needs of this green space. Next slide, please. More visuals. You can go through slowly the next 2-3 slides. It's just more visuals of wonderful VIPs. If you can just stop there, just again, New York City Parks and Partnerships for Parks are intrinsic to obviously this work. We do it completely in concert with them. Everyone from Trisha to Steve Simon to Sheena Kaufman to Mark to Lexi Edelman. We could not do it without them and their predecessors before them. We love this partnership and we've learned a great deal from them. And we hope to continue to make them proud with how we look after this park. Next slide, please. We're almost at the end of the presentation. This is the actual banner for the upcoming event. As you can see, the fall foliage in the banner tells you this is our fall event. It'll happen next Saturday. So you can go to the next slide. It'll have some details. The event will happen on Saturday, October 18th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Please also mark the next day, Sunday, October 19th. That is our rain date should the weather be inclement, but hopefully praying for blue skies and sunny weather. And should it switch to the rain date, it'll also be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The activities, of course, at the heart of it, planting, we'll be planting over 2,500 assorted daffodil bulbs. They really liven up the park. They will be mulching both in the dog run and in the south, in any space that needs it. We'll be cleaning the park, we'll be raking the leaves, and we'll be painting both the concrete brick red and the benches, the green, bottle green, as well as some of the ironwork there. There'll be gorgeous eco-friendly crafts. As I told you, I've had a preview. I'm also hoping that I can get one in myself. There will be complimentary refreshments and free giveaways. And we do require registration, ideally ahead of time. We had sent John and Will the link. If you can please share that in the chat. If not, if you on the day of also, we will register you at the front desk. But it is much more seamless and faster if you do it ahead of time. So we're hoping that all of you will visit and continue to brighten this park. And then there's the very last slide. I will leave you this last thought with my last slide. It's a quotation by a Pakistani scholar or activist who said, "Learn character from trees, values from roots, and change from leaves." So this is a quote that continually inspires us. And thank you so much for your support of this park. And do let me know if you have any questions. That's all from my end.
John, I can't see if any hands are raised. I think Steve Simon has his hand raised.
Yes, he does.
Could we unmute Steve?
Yeah, I just thank you. I just want to publicly thank the Muslim volunteers and acknowledge the fact that they are probably one of our more dedicated and active volunteer groups, and the work they've done in Rupert Park over the years is just been fantastic. And the fact that they come back, every 6 months or so, they are just fantastic, and they've been doing a great amount of work, and they draw volunteers, as Mubin mentioned, from all over the place, all over the world almost. So it's great to have them as partners in Rupert Park, and we're certainly looking forward to working with them for years to come. I don't know whether I'll be around for years to come, but certainly the Parks Department will be, and we'll treasure this relationship. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Miles has his hand up. Can we unmute him?
Yeah, I would just like to echo what Steve was saying on behalf of the board, to extend our gratitude and thanks to you guys for really the incredible work that you do. That small organizations like you are really what drive our city. So I think I can say on behalf of all of us that we really look forward to working with you, and I'm sure you will see me at some of your events. So thank you.
All right, John, are there any other hands?
No other points.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Mubin, for your presentation. We'll let you get back to your community board meeting now. And thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you on the Saturday, the 18th. And I will be there. Good night. All right. Is John Ernsberger here from the Parks Department?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are. Good, John. You're unmuted.
Oh,
All
great.
right. John is going to talk to us. Let me just tell everyone, in case you weren't at our last meeting or at the Community Board 8 full meeting. At our last meeting, we approved a plan for 24 Sycamores Park. When it came to the Community Board for a vote of the full board, by the time they got to vote on it, they had heard from so many members of the public that the plan was not what they wanted for various reasons. So the community board voted down what we approved last month. And since then, the Steve Simon and the Parks Commissioner, Tricia Shimamura, and various people at Parks have been having meetings, and they've come up with a new plan to present to us tonight. So, John, we'll turn this over to you. We have a fairly good attendance. We have over 40 people with us tonight. So we'll let you go ahead with the new plan.
Okay, great. Thank you for setting that up. I was able to tune into the video and watch some of the full board meeting and hear that feedback myself. And we've been having some really productive discussions internally. And I'm excited to show you what we think is another very exciting design that even better reflects the feedback now that we have more of it, which is, that it sometimes it takes a little bit longer, but we get there and we hear more feedback, and it's what we want, is to really understand all the users. And I think we've got a much better picture now. So again, I'm John Ernsberger, Deputy Director of Design, Manhattan Capital Projects, a landscape architect. I will, in case there are people who didn't see the previous presentation, kind of go through each slide, but I may go a little quicker, but if there are questions, I can, I'm happy to talk about any part of it. So again, just to orient people, we're on York Avenue here between 60th and 61st. There's 24 Sycamores Park in the box on the right. We have, some minor flooding issues in one area of the park. This is taken into account in the design with what type of programming will go there. It's things that can withstand that. And this is, by the way, very infrequent and unlikely, but we still account for it. So in terms of the surroundings, just to know that, it's a very busy area. There's a lot of civic uses. There's multi-family uses, and there's a lot of traffic. There's an exit from the FDR. And in terms of nearby parks, this is this is an essential park for the area to provide a playground right here. The nearest playground you can see to the north is St. Catherine's Park. That's about a 10-minute walk to the north. So we like to serve every region quite locally. The existing conditions, you have it's hard to reflect in plan, but you have an upper and lower level separated by stairs that you can see kind of in the middle of the screen there. And in the upper level, there's a restroom building, and which we are well aware is closed currently. It's unfortunate, and we're working very hard for a fix for that. And then near that is the spray shower right now, 2 to 5 play equipment swings. Then if you go down the stairs, which is to the north, you have the 5 to 12 play equipment. This is slightly older kids. You have some game tables there. And then moving to the right on the screen, you have a multi-purpose area. It has basketball courts, and pickleball has been striped onto it, and both are beloved uses for this area. And then moving down to the remaining area, the handball courts are existing there. We do site analysis, and just to highlight perhaps a key thing that I haven't mentioned is just the fact that there's no ADA accessibility between the upper and lower levels. So that purple circle indicates the stairs. You have to leave the park and come back into it to go between the two areas. If you're a person who uses a wheelchair, and that sidewalk out there is actually, steep. So even that isn't really accessible. So this is one of the major things we're trying to fix with this design. And that was true with the design we showed you last month as well. These are, there's a lot of wonderful existing trees. There's not quite 24 sycamores, so we plan to fix that, bring it up to 24 again. So the name is restored to accuracy. This is a good view for the grade change. See the upper and lower level there. And then this is from the top of the play equipment, the existing play equipment, looking back towards the public restroom building. Some shots of the court areas. You can see how they look now. And we also look at the perimeter of the park as a matter of course whenever we do a park, and address any issues like the one shown on the left there, the subpar condition for that piece of sidewalk there, plan to fix. So I apologize. This input slide was not updated, but perhaps it's interesting nonetheless, because this reflects the community input meeting results, at which we, since this slide was created, we heard much more about that, particularly that multi-purpose area and the basketball players who use it, as well as the little kids who ride scooters around or do whatever there, play there. So in particular, that's one amendment I would just verbalize as we contemplate this slide. And this is the adjacent park. You may recognize Andrew Haswell Green. That we're looking at this because it shows us some design inspiration that we've picked up on for the design. So some of this vocabulary, these kind of abstract forms, and a way of solving a grade change that's more playful than simply stairs, and then this slide is shown not so much for the materials, but for the concept of a type of play where when you have an accessible ramp like the one shown on the image on the left, sometimes you can make it playful. If it's in a playground, you can in this case add a boulder scramble that leads up to it. So this is the revised plan. I will walk through it and in its entirety, and then I'll spend more time on the changes, but I'll just kind of go through systematically if that's all right. If you can see my cursor, so starting at the entrance by the public restroom, I'll just start walking around the design from there. So here we continue to have the 2 to 5 play equipment up in the upper level, associated near the restroom, which can be a good association, convenience for smaller children and their caregivers. We have the swings remaining in the upper level, but these are all new, and the play value is much improved. And you'll also notice there's a lot of green added to this area to kind of make a green oasis up here, and start to screen some of the walls, and just the plants serve so many valuable psychological and air purifying qualities, and so there's a lot being introduced up here. But then a new use up here will be this kind of flexible seating area. Sometimes it may be a senior seating area, a quiet place to read a book for anyone, doesn't have to be a senior. And sometimes maybe the kids are using this for birthday parties, that kind of thing. So it's at different times, and this is a theme for the design, at different times, it's kind of nice to build into flexibility so that at different times of day, people are getting maximum value out of all the space. No space is left unutilized. So then moving northward, we have a very different treatment here. We have the accessible ramp, fully wheelchair accessible all the way between the upper and lower levels. That runs parallel to York Avenue. And then as a more direct route, but also as kind of a playful feature, there are these this kind of sweep of stairs and abstract forms that kind of jump up and down from the stairs. And this provides kind of an amphitheater-like seating area around now the new spray shower location, which is in the lower level. This is a nice sunny area, good spot for a spray shower, and kind of a fun feature to center this kind of amphitheater around. And again, during the off season, if it's not so warm out, this is a great runaround space as well, or just a multi-purpose space. You can set up anything down here. So you can imagine the amphitheater, facing an open space when there isn't a spray shower, being kind of having other uses, performances, or playful little things you might do with that. Moving north, we have the 5 to 12, that's the older age range play equipment. Again, remaining a larger unit with a lot of play value to it. We've got some images of that later. And then all the way up here, we still have the secondary entrance to the lower level, and we have picnic tables. And these have now been pulled, away from the play equipment into their own kind of area, so that the adults and children it's a little bit more clear where everyone belongs. That can be, it just seems like best practice we've found. So this area is also kind of one of the ways that you reach the multi-purpose court area. However, there's also a new entrance here so that one need not even go through this area. You can enter from 61st Street as well. At the top here, we have the dedicated basketball half court. This is, just for half court games and practicing basketball up here. However, I shouldn't say just, because all of this is run around anything space as well. There's so in the previous design, there had been a small fence here. You can see my mouse. That has been eliminated so that scooters and running around is unimpeded. There are a lot of trade-offs going on here, right? There's a reason we had that before, and now there's a reason we're taking it away. So it had been included to stop errant balls from disturbing different users. And now it has been removed so that we can just have maximum flexibility in this area, which seemed like the best way to go after the totality of the feedback was considered. And moving into this area, which maybe some of you have already been looking at, we have a junior basketball court with its lines overlapping two pickleball courts, and these all have good run out zones around them. However, of course, you can't use both of these at the same time for their different uses, right? So this continues the current sharing practice that is in place, which we understood, has been working fairly well. However, a change from the current situation is you have a dedicated half court up here, which does not have that condition, right? So there was always a basketball court here. Moving down, I can see there's a question on here. I understand that there will be. I'll just cover the rest of the site really quickly and run through the other slides really quickly as well. So in the handball court, what had been shown last time as a kind of a dual purpose kitchen skills practice area for pickleball, married with handball, the kitchen skills practice area has been omitted, and painted games, we're showing Foursquare and Hopscotch here. These are kind of to be determined, but those are good games, and they are included to kind of indicate that this is also still a kid-friendly area, but the use for practicing tennis or using this as a handball wall remains. The wall remains. And then the final area to cover is this area, which had been shown as adult fitness. The equipment that is now shown here is still, in the fitness category, but it's more teen oriented. This is still for 13 plus, right? So there's always a legal intended use for any designed equipment, just due to legal reasons. But these equipment, which I'll show some images of, are perhaps more dynamic and kind of form a challenge course. And then also we think this is fairly exciting about adding bouldering handholds to this side of the wall and giving this wall, this side of the wall, activating it in a kind of a way you don't always get to see, and you don't always get to practice your bouldering skills in your local park. So we think that might be exciting, and we're really looking forward to hearing some of your feedback about all this. But I will just run through. This is a new slide. We showed some sections before. They've been made much more compelling thanks to Liat, who I think is on the call. She helped with these and expanded so you can really understand a cross section across the whole site on the top here. Running from the seating area. There's, this is the nature of that grade change that I spoke about, the spray shower, the play equipment, and then all the way through to the opposite sidewalk on 61st Street. And then this section running the other way, it's labeled BB on the right, just helps to further explain the relationship of the accessible ramp to the spray shower and how that seating feature wraps around even there. You have a lot of tall fences right now, and this is the proposed fencing diagram. The handrails appear here, making it look a little bit busier than it might be, and also these low garden rails. So you're not going to see fencing everywhere. These are only a foot and 3 inches high. So it's there should be a sense of openness to the new design and a lot more green, but you need to protect green spaces when you establish them. And then on the perimeter, kind of along what one might think of as the front on York Avenue, the fence height is lowered to 4-foot steel picket fence. This is a slight update over here where we're proposing to lower the chain link fence around this teen-oriented fitness area, just to make this a little bit more welcoming. This is still chain link fence, and it kind of steps up and then provides the adequate protection you would need to play handball. But where it's not needed, we've lowered the fence to increase sight lines. There's a number of changes of fences up here, but they are now, it's fairly simple to explain. 10-foot chain link fence, fairly good height to stop basketballs and errant handballs going in the opposite direction of play. On this slide, there's a lot of standard park features you may recognize from other parks, but I just want to point out a change from last time. In the upper right, you can see an example. These aren't exactly the colors, but this is an example of how you can make overlapping painted lines for different sports quite clear. I don't think there's any confusing that, and that is an example of basketball and pickleball sharing a space. The play equipment, it's still in progress of revising this, but we're quite excited. We were excited to see this, and we were excited about the revisions that are going to add even more play value. And so to run people through a little bit about what's going on here, the portion of the 5 to 12 unit is fully accessible and has a lot of activities at that level. And then as you move it up into this upper level, you gain enough height to get a really exciting slide. And then there are a variety of the different, kind of play categories that I look for in a unit, and I've highlighted a bunch of these on the top here. But also there's the idea of overhead, to start to develop upper body strength. There's some overhead pieces. There's some imagination play. There's sensory play. Things that are catered to children with autism, but everyone enjoys. A lot of the things that I look for are already here, and we're making this unit even better, or both of these units, I should say, and the satellite pieces that surround them. The spray shower is, similar to the one shown here, all ground sprays, which makes the space, very flexible. So it becomes I mentioned some of the other uses that might be ideal for that, at the bottom of that amphitheater space. And then here is a lot of new imagery for you to take in. These are the teen-oriented kind of challenge course type features that we are showing now instead of the more typical adult fitness. This is in response to, just to make it very clear why this change, in response to some sense that we heard that there was a feeling that the park design had become too adult focused, and that children might not feel welcome in different areas. And so I think that again, these are designed for 13 plus and will be signed as such, but I think there's just a lot of dynamic things going on here that families can come in and start to I think anyone can kind of start to engage with these kinds of elements.
Are you finished? Oh,
Sorry, I will try to get to the finish.
I thought there was a silence, so
Sorry, I'm just
that's
so
okay.
excited. All right, so we've got a number of wonderful plants here, including what a lot of people call sycamore trees. In the business, we call them London plane trees. They're the tree of New York. And we're improving permeability quite a bit, from 5 to 16%, along with a number of other sustainability practices listed on the right. We also received a little feedback about possibly including some vines, and we are looking into that. Just want to mention that there's a potential for those to kind of intercept particulate out of the air and, do even more, may as well go vertical. And so we're looking into that as well. And we're back at the plan, and now I am done. Thank you.
Okay. Before we go to everybody else, I have a couple of questions on this plan, and can we start with the fencing plan?
Sure, let me back up
And
to
then
that.
we'll come back to that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if you're on, oops,
Oh, do you want me to?
yeah, no, that's
I'll
fine.
just keep it like this.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's fine. So on 61st Street, it starts at 16 feet going at the back of the park, and it comes all the way down. And then before it gets to 60th Street, it drops 12 feet, 8 feet, 4 feet. Is that right? And then
That's
it
right.
goes around to 4 feet, and then it goes back up 8 and 12 feet. Am I reading
That's
that
right.
right?
Yeah, but actually these will match. These are going to look symmetrical. This is on top of a 4-foot wall.
Ah, okay.
So it
Yeah,
looks.
okay, I get it now. Yeah.
I see the question for sure.
Yeah,
It's
I
kind of a
didn't
lot of numbers.
understand it. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so if it's on a wall, I get that. And also, while we're on the fencing, if you're going to put vines anywhere, because they have a habit of growing and hopefully we'll be able to form, I tried this once before, it didn't happen, but we'll be able to form a Friends of 24 Sycamores Park. And if they're looking after the park, I suggest maybe putting the vines on the fences, maybe in certain locations, because vines have a tendency to get really out of hand, depending
Yeah.
on what you plant.
We're going to look carefully at which
Yeah,
species, if any, before doing that. I want to
okay,
talk to our plant experts, our landscape construction
okay,
unit, about what they think is best now.
okay, great. Now, could you go back to the original, the drawing
Yeah,
of the park with the new?
this one.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not sure about this. I wasn't sure the last time. So if you're on York Avenue, I'm looking at that, there's an entrance there, and that's the handicapped ramp that comes around, and then it comes to the upper level where your
Yes,
cursor is.
there are two entrances from York Avenue.
Right.
Um,
And that one
yeah,
where your cursor is, that's the ramp. And then it
mhm.
comes around above the staircase. So that's how, let's say somebody in a wheelchair could, or a walker could
Yeah,
get access to the upper level.
that's right. You can simply enter in either place.
Okay.
Um,
But
but
I wasn't
if you want to
sure about the
change
ramp.
which part of the park you're in, you no longer have to leave the park to do so.
Right,
So, yeah.
right. And the steps won't be like the steps we have now. You're going to kind of use something like you showed us at Andrew Haswell Green for the staircase part.
Yes, there'll be concrete steps. But they will be, much more sculptural and attractive and kind of serve another purpose.
Okay.
They'll also be seating and kind of a gathering space. They'll form a gathering space as
All
well.
right. Now, one thing you didn't mention, and I have a particular place in mind, is the rubber matting. I assume it's under all the climbing equipment for the children and under the swings.
It is, and it's also under the teen-oriented fitness course.
What are we referring to now? What's,
Oh, so what is currently
oh, okay,
one of the handball
the
courts? Yeah,
equipment.
right here.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's what I was wondering about because you made one side of the two questions. You made one side of the handball court a climbing wall. What if someone were to fall while they were climbing? Is there going to be rubber matting there?
Yes, and and just to be clear, the handholds won't go too high.
That's good.
Uh,
That's
the main
good.
activity with bouldering is actually moving from side to side and just kind of practicing in that way without really going so high that there's much at stake.
Okay, so how high would you say the handholds will go?
I would like to study it a little bit more.
Okay,
The surfacing would be probably rated for 8 feet, but it's not to say that the handholds would go that high.
that high. Okay, but there will definitely be matting under that side. So should
Definitely,
somebody slip off, they'd at least be falling on a rubber mat.
definitely.
And I had one other question. So now we're going to have pickleball courts, and we're going to have handball courts. The pickleball people there are playing, and what happens if, or vice versa, the handball people are waiting to play? How does that work? I mean, do the pickleball people stay there for 2, 3 hours? Is there a time limit? I mean, do they switch back and forth? How are we going to have some kind of signage? How is that going to work? Because I'm sure that's something Phyllis probably would bring up. I may be jumping her question, but I think the people have to know how it's going to be used.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm, uh, you know, I think it was said really well at the community input meeting about how it's handled now, and the idea was to just permit the existing system to continue, at least in this portion. As I mentioned, the basketball half court is dedicated, and so that would no longer have the potential for even any negotiated being needed. But my understanding from the community input meeting was that it tends to be that the different users come here at different times anyway, and when they do overlap, they have been quite able at being kind to each other and working it out. So this design, you know, it relies on that great thing that we heard, which is that they're able to negotiate that.
Okay, if that's fine. And then if it gets built and put up and it's not working, then we can always come back and do something with the signage. So those are my
Mhm.
questions. Felice, do you have anything
Uh,
before we go to the public?
yes, I do have one question. Thanks, Judy. Um, so now that it's a more flexible space and not permanent pickleball courts, will you be installing a locked box for people to keep pickleball nets in?
Yeah, we can continue to look at that. The borough staff, Steve, do you want to comment on that? There was some reluctance internally about providing the lockbox, but it's something that we have done. I think we're looking for maybe a better version of that, or some other way of doing it than we have in the past. But it's something we can continue to do, and it can be noted here. Whether that seems like something you absolutely need. Yeah.
Well, if I can, I would say that
Yes.
that's a question that that we would take up outside of the capital process, and you know, in our standard way of deciding about whether containers or lock boxes can fit within parks. So I think we should, that's a decision that our Borough Commissioner, Tricia Shimamura, will determine later on.
Okay, I would encourage you to find an attractive way of including that. Just because if you're gonna have a flexible space, then there should be an easy way to kind of pull out.
Yes, Felice, I think
Right.
we should go back to our last resolution where, had it passed, we had made a suggestion to Parks that they put wire hooks on that 16-foot wall, and they put baskets on the hooks so that people could, so number one, the nets could be stored and people could store their paddles in an order so they would know who would be up next to play. Is that, Steve, does that sound like something feasible? Some kind of wire baskets with hooks?
Yeah, I don't know whether that actually would take the place of having a lock box or a storage container. We could, I would defer to Phyllis Wallach on maybe on that point. But that's something I'm sure that we could consider. But it's not a decision we need to make at the moment.
Okay, it's just something we know we need to work on.
Yeah, I mean, but
Okay, so maybe we'll just include that in a whereas
I mean,
in the resolution.
yeah, listen, at the moment, we need to first determine whether we're going to have the pickleball courts and whether or not they're going to be included within this design. And then we can worry about the other details later on.
Okay, all right, since we've talked about Phyllis, let's call on Phyllis next. Can we unmute her, John?
Hi, everyone. I'm taking a deep breath because I have so much to say. I'll start with something not pickleball to tell you that I'm concerned and disappointed that that adult fitness center is now a teen-oriented fitness center, because we had that presentation several months ago about how we need a place for our older adults to come and exercise. So the fact that it went one way instead of something that might have been a combination, I have a concern. I'm just going to put it out there. My biggest concern, and I'd really like to see how you're going to make that paint work on that ground, because we went from 2 permanent pickleball courts to what I don't see how you're going to do it. I don't see how you're going to be able to draw an actual 2 actual pickleball courts with a kitchen and all the 2 kitchens and everything we need on top of these basketball courts. And if you and the picture you did have of something painted did not look like that was going to work at all. And maybe 1 court, but I certainly don't see how you have 2 courts. And I will say that the last comment made about possibly not having any pickleball courts that I just overheard, that's a problem. So I have a lot of concerns about this. And to answer your question, yeah, the hooks and the baskets are not the same thing as having a net. What's happening now is sometimes I think they come over from the rec center with a net and they set it up. And other times locals bring their own nets. I don't feel we've given enough attention to this multi-purpose area. And I just don't think we've defined it well enough that makes me comfortable. And I'm not sure how the board can be comfortable, the committee can be comfortable with this without it. I don't see a pickleball court drawn in that area. I see basketball courts, but I don't see pickleball courts sitting in that area.
Okay. You don't see them, or you don't see it working. The kitchens.
Painted on here. I don't see. I see.
You don't. Yeah. Maybe that's why I was wondering if I could help with that. Yeah.
Okay.
So the rectangle that I'm highlighting now with my mouse, that is the kitchen for one of the two pickleball courts. It runs east-west. And so this is one pickleball court here.
Okay, where are
And
the sidelines for that pickleball court?
so this is one sideline, and then
So
up here
that
is another
blue
sideline.
area is going to throw everybody off there. It's going to be so confusing having those blue boxes in the middle of those sections.
Okay, so and then right now the lines are not shown, but they'll be totally different colors as well. So that may help. And we can study this further, and that's exactly what I intend to do
See now,
about the line color. So right now all the lines are the same color. In the image that I showed for reference, it'll be something with a lot more contrast like that. That was black and white. That's about as contrasting as it gets. But so this is the other pickleball court. You probably already see it down here.
about that one. Now it's a little
Yeah, now you got it. Yeah, yeah. So that's what that just going to make sure you
permanent nets to no permanent nets. So
that's right. It doesn't work with permanent nets, unfortunately, and
there's no way to get
I
one
know
permanent court and move this down, move it north a little bit, and at least get one permanent court.
right. Not with a you know, anything more than what you might just call a free throw practice hoop. There'd just be a lane for shooting for that. If you can, imagine you won't be able to shoot three-point shots from all the way around, 180 degrees. So this is a proper this is a junior court for small spaces.
Right, but if you had
It's
moved
about the least amount that
if you had moved the basketball court north towards the
right.
court, if you had moved those two posts north, right, and then had the pickleball courts below that, you don't think that's a better solution than putting everybody on top of each other? This way you could have a dedicated basketball court and a dedicated pickleball court, and then that space where the basketball court is could become multi-purpose.
Yeah, the basketball court it just takes up this much space that we're showing it at. It also needs run out zone, just like pickleball does. You got run out zone for pickleball too. So it's not just the boundary lines. It's the run out zone around it. Yeah.
Okay, that entire green thing is a basketball court.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I should explain. So these are the two backboards here, and this is and these are the 3-point lines, and even these 3-point lines are truncated. It's a very common thing to have truncated 3-point lines, and some people prefer it. But anyway, and it, just like this one has, you can see how some 3-point lines go all the way curved. But in this case, so this is about as narrow as a court gets, and so you can see this is these are the boundary lines that I'm kind of circling with my mouse now for a junior court for small spaces, which is what we're showing for basketball here.
I'm disappointed because I don't know what happened at the community board meeting. I wasn't there. I haven't watched the replay. I didn't realize there was a situation.
Phyllis, let me just say now, and I think we have to move on. I see a lot of hands. A lot of people called in or came to the full board meeting, and that's why the plan was voted down. Got a lot of requests for basketball, requests for space for children to be able to run around, ride their scooters, etc. And they were just very, very unhappy with the plan, and the full board voted the plan down. And then the Parks Department spent a lot of time redoing it, and now John is giving us what they've come up with. So let me start calling on some of the other people that I see have their hands raised from the public. The names that I can read: Andy Kelman, did I get that right?
I think first is Yasmina Kaleo.
Okay.
Scroll up on your participants list.
Oh, okay. I can't do that. So, okay, Yasmin, then let's do Yasmina and we'll call on Andy next.
I just wanted to say I was at the initial committee meeting and the community full board meeting, And I have to say, I really appreciate the responsiveness to the community feedback. It was fairly overwhelming, parents in the neighborhood, how much they rely on this park for kids, because we really don't have, we have this park and we have St. Catherine's. I'm personally an avid user of the Esplanade and Andrew Haswell Park. It's absolutely glorious. I think the renovation that was done there is literally life-changing. It's wonderful. But it's not a space that I think that kids can go, even teens. I don't think teens and kids can really enjoy the Esplanade unattended. It's not, the reality is it's not safe. There are people with issues that wander. I've had issues with them. So having a space like 24 Sycamore, even though I have issues with it environmentally, I know a lot of people rely on it to be a very safe space for their kids, and it has to continue to be so. And I think that this design really answers that need. It's very exciting to see teen-oriented fitness. I have tweens and a teen, and this is exciting. This is like, okay, I would feel good about them spending the afternoon here unattended. And then one more point is I also appreciate the idea of vines. Particularly, I think we're talking about the 16-foot perimeter. My main issue with an investment in 24 Sycamore is the location, but it is what it is. It's what we have. Unfortunately, the FDR is really oppressive. The off-ramp is really oppressive. But if there was some creative way, and I know that there is, because I've seen it further down along the FDR where vines protect the community from fumes, from sound, and just visual oppression is important. It's really great to see a wall of green if we can see that rather than cars. So I applaud this design. I think it's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmina, for your positive comments. I also want to make a comment about all the calls that the community board got at the full board meeting. This park, as you know, is right at the borderline of community board 6 and 8. And board 6 for Sutton Place South and First and Second Avenue, they really don't have any place else for their young children to go, except for the rec center, which, Steve, I need to talk to you about that offline. So if we can have a call tomorrow, I would appreciate it, because the parents have come to me with some issues about that. At any rate, so this park not only serves our district, it serves Community Board 6. So, and they had parent teachers night the night of our park meeting. And that's why we didn't hear from many of them. And they all came to the Board 8 full board meeting. So I just wanted to give everybody a heads up. John, would you call on the people in order? Because obviously I'm not seeing them.
First is Esther.
Hi, thanks so much. I'm also a parent in the neighborhood. This is a park that my family uses all the time. I think this redesign is really responsive to the concerns we had about the original plan. So I want to thank the Parks Department and the Community Board for their support on that level. I had just two kind of detailed remarks about things that are still showing up in the plan. One is the seating area with game tables. Not that I have real strong feelings about those one way or the other, but there are in fact a number of gaming tables that are available in the Alice Aycock Plaza, which is just above where this park is. So I just want to make sure that looking at both the new waterfront area as well as what's been done in Alice Aycock, as well as what's planned for the upcoming renovation of more parts of the Esplanade where there is an adult fitness center planned. We've already seen signage about the fact that that's coming. So knowing how premium space is in this particular site, if there are features that are already renewed and kind of gorgeous right nearby, perhaps some of those things could be just rethought in terms of the allocation of space overall in that area. And then the other thing I wanted just to mention is that 3 swings for the child population in that uses this park is really like not very many. I remember like one of the first lessons my kids had to learn about sharing was that you got like 10 minutes on those swings because there was such a wait always for access to them. And knowing that accessible swings need more room, if there's any way that that kind of swing accessibility could be expanded, those are always some of the most, I mean, I think the new play structures look amazing, but swings are always like a hit for all age groups. And so if that could be expanded in some way, I think that would be really effective.
Just
Thank you so much.
so you know, there are five
Oh,
swings. So there's
great.
2 strap, 2 bucket, and 1 accessible swing right now.
That's great.
But your point stands. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jason. Hi, how are you?
Jason, we can't really hear you.
Jason, yeah, we.
Jason, your
Is
voice.
this better? Is this better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm a parent in the neighborhood, and I just wanted to say thank you to the community board and the Parks Department for taking all of the feedback. Having 3 kids in the area, it is important. It's one of the only places to really bring them. So just wanted to say thank you for the updated design. Really like the idea that there's a teen area. So as they get older, there's a place for them to go and feel safe, and just echo some of the comments made by the previous parents that spoke. And so just wanted to say thank you, and taking into account all the feedback to have open area places for them to play sports, play basketball, playgrounds, and then a teen area as well. So thank you for the redesign.
Thank you, Jason. John, who's
So
next?
what's next?
Stuart Zwirling.
Good evening. Thank you very much, John. I think your redesign really makes this accessible to a lot of, for multi-use purpose, which I think was, a lot of us thought was really the right answer. My only comment or suggestion with respect to the pickleball, and somebody will make this after as well. The way the courts are designed, they're fine. Just with respect to the traffic and the multi-use, perhaps they're running east-west now. Perhaps you put them north-south. I'm not sure there's enough space, but assuming there is, this way somebody can play in a second basketball court without interfering with a pickleball game. All right, so there's less overlap. That's all. Right now, if you have both courts, if you have one court being used, you really can't play basketball on those secondary, on those north baskets.
That makes sense. We will look at that. Yeah, thank you.
Joseph Irving.
John, are we calling on someone else?
Yeah, I called on Joseph Irving, but I don't know what. I muted him, but I don't hear him at all. So
Okay, so let's call on the next person. Maybe you'll come back to him later on.
Michelle Werbel. Oh no, sorry, Andy Kellerman. Sorry.
Hi, thank you very much. Appreciate the work that the Parks Department did in revising this plan. Not easy to address multiple needs, various users in an area which is so underserved in general by the amount of open space. I definitely share the concerns that were raised by Stuart with respect to the multi-purpose area, which is great. It's nice that the permanent nets were taken down so that the space can be used for multiple purposes. However, the way it's currently laid out, again, you could have one individual shooting baskets, and that would take up the whole space. as opposed to having hypothetically 8 people playing pickleball in that space. So giving thought to redesigning the space so that it could accommodate both users simultaneously by running them north-south, if possible, as opposed to east-west. Additionally, I'd be interested in knowing how far to the basketball backboards and hoops project from the fence on both ends, and whether or not that would, in and of itself, interfere with other uses of that space when basketball is not being used. Certainly, with pickleball, once the portable nets are taken away, there is space that's wide open, and there's no remnants that would dissuade other users from the space. So again, looking to see if those rims and backboards are recessed enough close to the fence so that they don't hang over and interfere with other uses of that space. And again, also redesigning it so that you can have pickleball played as well as basketball simultaneously, rather than having hypothetically one person shooting baskets, which negates anybody else from using that entire space.
Okay, John Ernsberger, do you want to talk about the height of the hoops?
Yeah. So yeah, hoop is 10 feet off the ground, and you could see that they don't interfere with any shot that would have been in play for the pickleball. I'm not sure if that's clear, but the pickleball is not directly overhung by either of them. The idea of turning it north-south, I think we'll have to look at it. I think I mean, with how much that you're rightly pointing out, you gain, it may be worth the trade-off, but um, the run out zone, the amount that players need to be able to stand behind the baseline. This is not extra wasted space back here. This is good playable space for the pickleball players. So that would need to be considered as we rotate it. But I want to look at it because that is a really good point you make, or both of you are making, about how that would open up the ability for one, one half, for it to be used half and half. Yeah.
Even if you needed a few more inches or whatever, John, maybe you could push that fence with the greenery. I love greenery, but in this case,
Right.
it seems changing would be a good solution. So even if you
Well,
had to push the fence back a little bit, I don't know how wide that is for the
yeah, if you're
greenery.
looking at this
You
one, this
might
is,
get some more space so that you'd be able to turn it.
yeah, I just want to set expectations on this. So this is one
Yeah.
of the sacred lines that is for the tree's root zones. So every time we
No,
redo a
I
park,
was
you're going to
talking
see that.
about the long
Oh,
part.
sorry.
The long
Oh, this
part.
one,
Yeah.
this part.
Yeah, maybe you
Oh,
could narrow that a little bit if you
yeah.
need some more room to
S-
switch the pickleball courts the other way.
Right. So we're going to we'll study it all. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just good feedback. Yeah.
Okay. Now I see that our commissioner, Tricia Shimamura, is with us, and I'd like to call on her next. She was the former chair of this committee with Barry Schneider. And Tricia, it's great to have you with us.
Hi, guys. I'll wait my turn. I want to hear everybody
No,
else
no,
talk.
no. Please speak to us.
Oy, oy, oy.
It's not often that we have a commissioner with us.
Well, you have me with you at least. I've listened to your recordings afterwards. I'll tell you that much. Ollie says hi. He's here sitting next to
Good.
me, and Teddy wishes everybody well. I think people on this call were actually literally in the hospital with me when I gave birth to Teddy and on the east side. So it's good to see all of you. Look, I'm going to be really quick because everybody's got their hands up. I wanted to come on not only because I'll use any excuse to see my friends and neighbors here, but I also wanted to listen really closely. I know that it's not often that we have to go back to redesign a playground space. And let me just say, the obvious here. There's a lot of need and a lot of interest in a lot of doing as much as possible in a very kind of relatively small space. Shh, 1 second, okay? And so I want to thank John and the team for, I think, what is like trying to be really creative about using every inch of space. I want to thank everybody here, the pickleball players and the families. Mine too. We live right on 72nd Street. I'm a PS 183 family. So my all the families that are using this playground and this space all the time. And I'm hoping in talks with your parks chairs as well as your community board chair and others, the real word here is flexible. We are looking for as much flexible space as possible so that we give the community as many options and as many ways to use the space for as many hours as there are on the day. So I hope that you see that. I want to just hammer home a couple things. One, that bouldering idea was my idea. I'm going to take credit for it, and it's only happened once in our city. So I hope that you support that, because I think it's kind of cool and fun and could be exciting. And if you don't like it, then fine. Two, if the committee decides to support this kind of redesign, that's wonderful. I'm just going to ask you to be really specific in your resolution, because this kind of co-location of basketball and pickleball, even if we decide to change the orientation of those courts a little bit, is something also that we don't take very lightly. It's not something that we often do, because we understand that everybody likes their own space. In a situation like this, where we just have so many uses and we want to build in as much flexibility as possible, we think that this warrants this kind of special case. But I would just ask that your resolution really kind of spell it out and say that you're okay with it. That's what my commissioner has asked of me, that I come pass along to you. And then three, I think that with the other kind of aspects of it, I think the woman who spoke kind of pointing out that we have a lot of chess tables all over the place, and maybe this wasn't a place to use chess tables. Point well taken. Like, I think that I think that John and the rest of the team, Rachel and others, I think that we can continue to look at that and tweak it potentially as much as possible, just so again we're building in as kind of wide a range of uses as possible. So I'm listening. I'm here. It's my kids' bedtime, so I may go off camera as I yell at them to go stop talking. But I'm here, and I really appreciate everybody's comments. And it's good to see all of you. I miss you very much.
Thank you, Trish. Okay, John, who's next from the public?
Forst. He's next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you for taking my call. I just have a couple of points or one question. Can the basketball court that is on the north side, the one where there's the single basket, can that be run? Can you put two basketball courts in place of that if you went east and west?
It's an interesting thought. There's something that you can't see going on up there, which is we have DEP infrastructure under here. So we're grandfathered in terms of where this hoop is. So this hoop is a sacred hoop. And we want to keep playing basketball up here. So we're gonna be grandfathered in with that hoop. Now, it's not to say you couldn't put hoops other places around here, but you start kind of cluttering it up and potentially creating conflict
I don't
between.
think you could do that, but if you could run it north, if you could run it east and west, I think that would certainly give basketball players more space, and it might be a little more comfortable. The other point, when I don't remember the woman's name who talked about the kitchen and the basketball being all blue, and it could be a little confusing. You certainly could paint one of them another color, which would make it a little easier and more, I guess, easy for people to delineate which is which.
Definitely. Yeah, we should look at that. I agree.
So I guess I do like the idea of, if it's possible, to run the pickleball courts north and south. But I also think still going to have an issue with, since it's a communal space, so to speak, how do you keep, if people are playing pickleball, how do you keep people from skateboarding in the area or riding their, their scooters, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Maybe there should be a designated time.
I thought we wanted them to ride their scooters in here too.
Certainly
But
not while they're playing pickleball.
It's an exercise in sharing, though. Yeah,
I
your point
understand.
is, yeah.
So I mean, how do you deal with that? Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Alan,
Yeah.
I think that, as we discussed earlier, that we'll see how it works once the park is built. And at the moment, there won't be any signage, but if it doesn't work well, then we'll probably have to put up signage for times when people can play whatever sport for whatever length of time, and when the area will be open to the children when they're out of school, etc. So let's just hope we come up with the design and hope it works. If it doesn't work out, then we always have time to put up signage and enforce the rules a little bit about what areas of the park can be used. But right now, I think we're trying to deal with the design.
Okay, thank you so much for the time.
One thing that should build confidence with that, though, is that this is how it is used now. That it is working. It's not an untested scenario. So our understanding was that it's working out. So that's one thing that gave us some confidence in proposing the formalization of it, is that it works now.
Okay, John, can you call on the next person?
Member from Public, Michelle Rubel.
Hi, all. First of all, thank you for listening to the community. I'm a parent of 3 children in the neighborhood, with all of our children starting at PS59, and I'm really grateful and thankful that you listened to all of us, and that you took into account the needs of both the children and the adults. This teen space is wonderful. The boulders seem great. Again, echoing what Tricia shared and Esther and Yasmina on having safe spaces for the children to play when they reach teenage years. So thank you again. Really pleased to see the changes that were made.
Thank you, Michelle, and it's good to see you again. Next, John.
Last person is Martin Friedman.
Okay, Martin. Can't unmute.
He's been unmuted, but we can't hear him.
Maybe you can text him and he can, you can read his question or comment. Okay, let's go to the board members then.
Yeah, first is Barbara.
Hi. Thank you very much. I'm not going to repeat all the kudos, but include me in on it. I have 2 age-related questions. The idea that it's teen exercise now, does that mean it's limited, that older people couldn't use it? Is it something that's multi-usable above a certain age?
Yeah, it would definitely be usable by anyone, really. The manufacturer is going to sign it a certain way, so that does kind of cause people to feel, that's a legal protection thing. And I guess I should probably watch what I say too. But anyway, there is also still this piece on the lower right is included that you will see in adult fitness areas of all stripes. This is it felt like the responsible thing to do to include one fully accessible piece. And this is also for all ages, really can enjoy this piece in particular. And I think that there are things that people of all age can do with pretty much all of these.
Right. And my other age related, you talked about seating being and for different parts, and you talked about a period for seniors. Shouldn't that be open to anybody that without children that wants to read? There is that section
Yeah.
where you would do it. There's a lot of medical offices there, and I know very often at lunchtime the staff or patients, family waiting for them and everything may want to go there. So that's not restricted by age, am I right?
So because there's a public restroom building, this will be signed so that adults can come in and use the restroom. And the paving will help guide people as to where they're meant to be at any given
Right.
time. The paving will be more, I don't know how to describe sophisticated or more adult
Right.
in the areas that we kind of want adults to be.
I mean, I assume the issue is people with children and people without children, as opposed to age. But so that
Yeah.
area that would be for people without children can be all age. You mentioned senior,
Oh,
but I just
yeah.
want to make sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mentioned senior because at our input meeting, there was a request for
Right.
at least some small part where you could read quietly, at least at certain times a day, so that's one reason it was included.
I know that sometimes the staff and these doctors want to get their, I see them, they take their lunch and they go to a park and eat and with their, thank you. Thank you so much for listening.
Barbara, this was discussed, I don't remember if you were at the last meeting.
Yep.
This was also discussed very much at the last meeting that adults be able to have a place to
Right.
come.
But the word
come and
with you,
sit.
that's all I'm
So-
questioning. I didn't know if it was changed. Yes, Judy, I knew
Yeah.
that. Thanks. And
Okay.
thanks for listening.
Who's next, John?
Lead a person.
Next person to speak from the board?
Bradley.
Hey, this is Brad. I have a couple of questions and comments. I appreciate all the work from the folks at Parks. We really appreciate everything you're doing for us. Last time you made this presentation, I'm not sure if you mentioned it tonight, you mentioned some vegetation that was related to deterring rats and stuff like that. So just wondering if that stayed in the redesign, because that would be great. I'm not sure.
Yes, it did stay. Yeah, sorry, I didn't highlight it this time.
Okay, no,
we tried ginger and mint, but the quest continues to find the perfect deterrent.
Sure. No, that's absolutely great. I wanted to bring that up because that's definitely needed. And then two other things. One, I just wish, with all the talk of the teen equipment and that kind of thing, more people use the Constance Baker rec center, because teens can get free memberships and you basically have the same type of equipment and things, as a gym you would have to pay for in the neighborhood. And then in terms of pickleball, I think this is obviously not the best outcome for dedicated pickleball, but it's obviously working, right? And maybe this is the best outcome for shared use of the space. So I'm just taking a look at the actual design here, and just as a comment, if you look at where the basketball is and the pickleball is, there's probably like somewhere between like 5 inches and a foot worth of space where like the basketball court ends and then the pickleball court maybe has like 10 inches or so. Maybe it makes sense to pull the basketball court up to where the pickleball court ends, and then you wouldn't have those green box, two blue boxes, and then a green box. And it would just give you like an extra 10 feet, and then you wouldn't
Are you a
have
landscape architect? I was actually thinking about the same thing this morning. I was thinking about making that same change. Yeah.
that
If we
might be
keep
the
them this
way.
way, I
Yeah,
think
maybe just
that's
to
what we'll
add
do.
like an extra foot to the basketball court, and then it would just
So
there would
this
be less
lines up.
boxes. Yeah, like to
Less
the top
lines.
and
Yeah.
also to the bottom. And I
Yeah.
think, that might just make it less confusing. And like I mentioned, this is sort of working, right? And obviously not the best for dedicated pickleball, but just to hear the needs of the community and the different use cases for the space, I think maybe some of those tweaks would be good. So I just wanted to mention that. And again, thank you for your hard work and everything going on here. Also, one other thing, there's a person named Catherine who was on the call and she wasn't able to find the raise hand button. So I don't know if she could be called on, but She wasn't able to click that.
What's her name?
Catherine Hedden. If
John,
Catherine could be unmuted.
Yep.
Thanks.
do you see her, John?
Yes, I see her now.
Okay, well, let's hear from Catherine.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm a USA Pickleball District ambassador for the Metro region. I started out Manhattan ambassador. And I have to say that I was probably one of the first people that started playing over here before everybody realized that there may be a pickleball court. So I used to go over there and just kind of chalk and tape. And what I'd like to say is thank you very much for this design. I think it'll work well. And for multi-purpose, it actually does work well because I used to be over there with the basketball players and everybody really did get along very well. And then the Parks Department picked it up and they started having their programs from Constance Baker over there. And so I used to go play over there because I live right 2 blocks away. And so then I used to go play over there when the Parks Department had their program there, I guess Mondays and Wednesdays. But I would like to say thank you for considering pickleball here and that this does work. And the community really never had a problem with the sharing. We always shared. The basketball players were great. At the time, there was the 3, one in the middle, 2 in the ends. And when I would go over there with my friends to play, we would just all move around based on what game they were playing, whether it was the center court, the other court. So I don't think having a half court is a real problem at all. And I just wanted to say thank you for all your work on, understanding pickleball needs in the city.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Okay, John, can we call on the next board member?
Miles Fink is next.
Hello. I'm also going to give my thanks, but from the perspective as of a kid who really grew up here in the neighborhood. I grew up playing basketball mainly in St. Catherine's Park, where there was one functional hoop where you get kicked off once the older kids came in, and it was attached to a high school. And I think I can say this on behalf of other people I've spoken to in the community who are around my age. I tried to get them on the meeting, but we have a lot of homework, so it's difficult. I actually got 2, which I was very proud of. And they were all really excited about this, that I understand the pickleball perspective, but it's difficult for kids my age and younger to get around the city and go to basketball courts and things like that. So I think it's really important to have the spaces here in the neighborhood. So thank you from behalf of all of the teens and children in the community. And then I also want to echo some other things that were previously stated in regard to the coloring, in regard to the pickleball and basketball. I think ensuring that the different paint colors, I think, would be very valuable. And then something that I thought to ask you, John, is what would be the harm in actually adding a second basketball hoop on the south side of the dedicated space? And you could kind of make it like a mini full court to maybe alleviate some of the basketball players, so to allow for more pickleball. Do you think that could work in the designs?
I think it might. The a couple trade-offs. Well, one, the reason that it wasn't an automatic inclusion is, but this fence line here that I'm highlighting with my mouse is actually pushed out to the left on the page here enough that you can get a proper junior court east-west. So then this became the idea of, oh, this is a court, and a lot of people kind of enjoy playing on a shorter court. So in I guess in our minds, this became the full court. And then we had a dedicated half court, which we like the idea of that and the simplicity of that. Running maybe more, maybe the trade-off is that the more lines you kind of overlap in this area, maybe it gets more confusing. But also seating is having trouble finding a spot. This is a pretty good spot for seating over here. But it's a little tight over here. And you don't need a lot of seating for these courts, but it is kind of nice to sometimes have spectators or have a place to throw your gym bag. So those are kind of the trade-offs that were kind of bouncing around with that, with why the wasn't a court on the south side.
In
Sorry,
regard
a hoop.
in regard to seating, what about maybe a double-sided bench in between kind of the two spaces? I think could maybe be a good idea.
Yeah. So this went from the previous iteration to having a low fence, a sideline fence that was going to stop pickleballs. At that point, it was put in there for that, and a couple benches here. And it went to complete open space, in part because of the mention of scooters and running around and jump rope and things like that. So that is why this label says multi-purpose open space. The idea is also, I didn't even say this, but we added another portal here. So a scooter can, so long as there's nothing going around in this area, you can rake a whole circuit through this area and really tear it up on a scooter. So the benches also came out of this area with the idea of, at sometimes, maybe this is really, high speed running around and scootering.
Thank you.
All right, who's next, John? Thank you, Miles.
Martin Freed has his hand up again, so I think he got his technical issues working now.
Did we hear from her before?
We before did.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, there it is.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Go
good.
ahead, Martin.
Okay, yeah, I finally figured it out. Okay. First, I'd like to thank the group. I mean, I think one of the things the pickleball group in general, we want to work cooperatively and want to have a shared space. So I think this redesign with taking out the permanent nets really moves us in that direction. So I think that's really, really well done. And I confirm and reiterate some of the things the other people have said. I think it's all great. And I just wanted to comment about the cooperation and what's going on there. I just want to remind everybody that generally the pickleball groups tend to play when school is in session and during the day when there's very few children, running around in the open space. It's more of the younger children that are in the playground area. So, it tends to be self-fulfilling that there's only one use of the space at the time. The group tends to not play very often on weekends. So I'm not going to sit here and say that that's never going to happen, but the reality is that the group does not play on weekends. So the cooperation level is very high, and I think it will continue. So I think that's something that you guys we mentioned before, and I think I want to just reiterate it again, that the timing of when the groups are playing is at different hours. So I don't think there's a lot of overlap. The other thing is that there's talk about with those basketball courts on the south side, maybe we could go back to even putting the hoops where they are currently with this layout and design, whether the courts are north, south, or whatever. That might be another alternative to look at to see if the hoops can be, the same, this layout, but leaving the existing additional hoops available, so that way if there's people wanting to play 2-on-2, they could play on the north end on those two sides there, or on the south end if they're not being used by pickleball. So it gives more options to people to play in those areas. Or the other alternative too is if you wanted to create more even basketball space, is that put a hoop into the handball area. Might be another option. I don't know if that was considered or not, but that might be another area to think about. Other than that, I'm excited about the layout, and I think it's working for the entire community.
Thank you very much, Martin. We appreciate your comments. Okay, John, can we go back to board members? Are there any board members that have not spoken?
We do have one other person with their hand up who's not a board member, and that's Corey Brown.
Okay, but are we done with all the board members?
Yes, we are. There's no more board members with their hands raised up.
Okay, so then let's call on Corey. And
Hey.
then we'll get to the resolution. Go ahead, Corey.
Just want to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to speak. I actually have a unique perspective. I grew up at 425 East 58th, so literally a block from the park. But I also now play pickleball. But I am a big fan of this plan. I think the shared space is fantastic. Just maybe could widen it, like Bradley said earlier, a little bit, just so the lines don't cross as much. But besides that, I think everyone in the pickleball community is open to sharing. And it's just a good design. Just the one issue I see with the hoop in the south area where it is now, if you go there, you'll see that like it actually crosses into the path of play. So that might just cause some issues when playing pickleball. But other than that, I like having the space open. I used to run around there like all the time as a kid. So I think just keeping it as open as possible is great. And also encouraging the sharing is awesome. And yeah, thanks for taking all the feedback into consideration and putting together this great plan.
Thank you very much, Corey. I want to thank all the public who have remained with us for coming and speaking and voicing your opinion. I think, Felice, now we have to work on a resolution.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
And so my sense is that it's a resolution in support of the proposed changes, but with the following suggested items. That Parks Department take a look at the seating area with gaming tables and see if there's a better use of that space.
Yeah, Felice, let me just stop you there. I was just wondering, John, where the tables are next to the swings, is there any possibility that on the 61st Street side, you also have tables and chairs? Is there any chance to put more tables and chairs there and maybe take them away from the upper level and expand the swings? We all know that any park that has swings, the swing, Trisha's got a heart up. Any park that has more swings they're always well used. So is there any chance of making more tables there at 61st Street and maybe taking those away from up above? Not enough
We
room.
can look at it. These tables, again, there's some behind the scenes stuff going on up here with DEP infrastructure. So these need to be of a different nature, which is why they're shown the way they are. And they have a little higher capacity. Well, they're 5 instead of 4 people. Yeah, maybe one more. I don't know. We have to study it, but not a lot more.
Okay, but in other words, you couldn't pull the swings into that area.
Oh, and then in terms of back down here, the game table area,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what I was talking
we
about.
we could.
And then put
Yep.
maybe some more tables and chairs at the other area if the DEP allows for it. I mean, I wouldn't take them away completely if you
Yeah.
can't put them somewhere else.
One thing that doesn't really come across as well in plan view is that maybe it will in the section, huh? The idea of this seating area here, you can see in this section a little bit better, being the better quiet area, was partly because of this wall here. So so you're lower down and you're more surrounded by green up here. And then this is more of an active area. So yeah, they're kind of two different spaces when you start to think about them.
Well, then I didn't think about that as seating. Then I would ask the board members, what do they think about taking away those tables and chairs and extending the swings all the way across? Does anyone, board members have any feelings on that?
I also has hand raised, and also Rachel from Parks has her hands raised. Do you want to?
Yes, let's call on the parks person.
Hi, I'm Rachel Kramer. I work with John, and you know, the idea sometimes of the tables and chairs is also for birthday parties. So if you know, somebody wants to celebrate, it's a nice place to set up and have you know, groups of people together. So it's just another use. You know, you can extend the swings, like if there is enough space. That has a very big use zone, but it's just trying to put just one more use in here. You know,
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay. Well, it was just a thought. Miles?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that. Every time in St. Catharines, there's always
Well,
birthday
yeah,
parties
we
and
have a lot of birthday parties
yeah, so I
every
think
weekend.
yeah. So I think
Yeah.
it's a good addition, yeah.
Okay, well then let's leave that alone. So Trish, getting back to the resolution, I think Felice, rather, getting back to the resolution, I think we're approving it, but we need to have some a list of specifics as we did the last time that the Parks Department. Now, these are the ones I have. Anybody from the board can chip in and mention more. One, I think we want to commend them that they're using rat deterrent plants. I think that's a big thing. The main thing is that John and the parks people are going to possibly look at the area and reverse the pickleball courts, and with the basketball courts to go from north-south, or whatever they can work out, possibly maybe even moving that plant wall if they have to get a few more inches or a foot to be able to make that change. And therefore, people will be able to use a pickleball court and a basketball court if it's reversed at the same time. Also, and what else did I have? Oh, yes. And on looking at that area where the pickleball and the basketball are, we should mention that the lines and the coloring for the different for each sport, so for the basketball and the pickleball should be a different color. Felice, do you have anything else to add to the comments?
So, and as we mentioned, we wanted them to relook at the gaming tables on the 60th and York Avenue side. And I think also, while Steve mentioned that putting in a storage area was was something that was not necessarily part of the capital project, would still, I think, like that to be referenced and something to think about how that would work in, and whether or not there would be a space that would fit.
Yeah, where would they, John, you'd have to
We'd leave a space for it, I think.
yeah, you'd need a space for it. Even I don't even see a space near the pickleball court to even where you would put a
It depends on what shape it takes, but we'll coordinate. We can coordinate that. If
okay,
you
all
put,
right. So we'll put that in. What did we call that? A storage cabinet?
Or a storage locker for
A storage cabinet
okay.
for pickleball materials. Okay. Anybody, any other board members? Could we unmute the board members?
Yes.
John, so anyone can just talk. Okay, Brad.
Yeah, I don't know if you just mentioned it, but it could explicitly reference having one out of bounds line, like extending the basketball court. I know we had mentioned that a couple times. Just so there's no confusion. So like it could say something like having one out of bounds or the same out of bounds line for the basketball and pickleball court. And then I think it was mentioned earlier that having some kind of system, to facilitate play on the fencing or something like that would not be part of the capital project, but it would certainly be helpful to players. So something
Well,
along
if they give us a storage cabinet, then you can put your stuff in there.
I think it was
You
more.
still want the wire hooks with the baskets?
Yeah, because that's more for facilitating like who's playing and then who's playing next, and it's like a
Okay.
queue of players. So that would just sort of like have less confusion of people standing around, and it just make it the play easier. So that would really make things smoother.
Okay, fine. Miles?
Oh, well, I was gonna say with Bradley about the extending the basketball lines just a couple inches to line up.
Well, I think we'll just write it that they're going to look at
Yeah.
that whole area and the coloring of the lines and the courts. And then, John, what will you be doing? Will you be coming back to us with a new, do you think you'll do that by next month? Will you be coming back to us and showing us what you're thinking the final layout would be? How long will that take?
Well, we would like your blessing to go ahead and to submit to PDC next, but we can give updates. There's different things we could do. Steve, do you want to kind of help us decide about next steps, or I don't know if Rachel had thoughts.
Well, we could I mean we can't really we can come back and give you an update and tell you about whatever changes we make subsequent to tonight's meeting. I suspect there are going to be a few tweaks.
Yes, I think that.
So we can certainly we will certainly be reporting back to you. The other thing I would like to do is to just remind you that Borough Commissioner Shimamura asked earlier that you specifically call out in your resolution that you support having the shared space with the pickleball courts superimposed on the basketball courts. On the basketball court.
Okay, I just wrote down the wording. Okay, Steve. So why don't we just approve this in general? Because I think everybody generally approves this, and then state that Parks will be coming back to us with a final layout of that right-hand corner of the park. Is that satisfactory, Steve?
Well, I mean, I don't want you to take yet another vote in another month or so.
No. I mean, this is the vote.
Yeah,
This is the vote, and you'll be coming back to us with the final layout when it's done, and we can still have further discussions because you're not building this tomorrow.
No, that is true. Yes.
Okay, I see we have one new hand. I see Rachel again, but let me just call on Barry Schneider. He hasn't spoken tonight.
Oh, you could talk to him at home.
No, but he wants to talk about your plan.
I want to be on the record, young man. Thank you. My comment at this point is move to approve the resolution as proposed with the additions that were mentioned by the chair and co-chair.
Do we have a second?
Before we get to the vote, can we just hear from Rachel
Yes,
Kramer
but we
of the Parks
need a
Department?
second. We can have all the discussion we want. We need somebody to second. Okay,
seconded.
Miles is seconding it. Okay, Rachel is next.
I just wanted to see if, because typically when we get the approval from the community board, we can go to PDC with the revised drawings and, you know, just so that we don't have to hold up, you know, the schedule, because we want to try to get this transmitted on time.
Okay.
But I think, yeah, the update with the community board is important. But
Okay,
we're going
but
to, in parallel, we'll go to PDC.
When you go to them, you're going to use this drawing you're showing us?
No, we would make the revisions.
You would make the revisions. Okay, fine. That's good.
Great.
Are you okay with that, Felice?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Miles, you still have your hand up. Do you have another comment?
Well, it's more of a question. Are we going to be presenting this to the full board, our resolution and the plans, and then from there?
This plan that you're looking at will be in our minutes so that the full board can see it. And this is what we will be presenting to them. And we will tell them that the upper right-hand corner is going to have some changes. Actually, if the changes occur before our full board meeting, we'll use the new plan. But otherwise, we'll use this plan and say that Parks is coming back to us with the minor changes they're going to make in that area. It'll still be basketball and pickleball, but the courts just may be changed around. turned
Is
around.
there going to be a vote on it, or we're done?
Yes, no,
Okay,
we're gonna, I'm waiting for everybody's comments before somebody calls the question.
Oh, sorry. I mean, at the full board, are we going to vote on it again?
Oh, well, yes, we always do, Maya.
All right, there you go. Just had to make sure. Okay.
I hope you will be positive this time.
I will be.
Okay.
Okay, so Barry called the question. So should we?
Okay, there are no other board, I can't see. Are
No
there
other
any
board
board members that have any other comments before we vote?
No.
Okay, so I have at present, John, and tell me if I'm correct, myself, Felice, Irma, Barry, Miles, Barbara Rudder, and Brad. Is there anyone else? John, did I miss some?
Irma is no longer here unless she's still somewhere around. I don't see her here.
Okay, so Irma is not voting. Okay.
Safar's here also, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Safar, did you want to speak? I'm sorry, my computer doesn't let me see everyone. Safar, do you have any comments?
Hi, Judy. Hi, Felice. Hi, everyone. Just had one small question, actually. I don't know if it relates right now or some other time, but I was just wondering about, around the picnic tables and the space seating area, that can we also put in a request for like extra garbage disposal those, I don't know what you call them, those cans or something?
The big bellies. Actually,
Yes.
We didn't talk about that, John. Where are the water fountain and the big bellies? I assume we're getting big bellies. Where are they located on the plan? Can you point out where the receptacles are?
I didn't know I couldn't unmute myself. Okay, I think let's see if this diagram helps. I think it may not. No, that's not one of the things it calls out. So they're pretty small, but I can point them out.
Oh, just point them out on the map to us.
Yeah. So there are two, these would not be non-compacting. This is what we prefer now, so nothing can go wrong. But they are very rat resistant. So there's two there. There's a
Right.
pair of them in this other entrance, right? So as you come and go,
Right.
is often the time you want a trash can. There's one here,
Right.
one here. I think
And do we have a
think
water
that's it.
fountain?
Oh, yes. And that my diagram does do. So you already have one on the building, and this adds a bottle filler here and a high-low drinking fountain up here as well.
Oh, fine. Okay, so we're covered for trash removal and water.
Judy, I would just say maybe, would you mind, John, going back to the original map where I could read the names? I feel like shouldn't we also have, is there one around the sitting area with the game tables for garbage disposal? Because I feel like when people are sitting, they always have a lot of trash, and that's another way of avoiding mice. So
There's
do we
one-
have one here? Because it's the other end of the park, so it's like kind of walking with all your garbage to the other
No,
end.
right across from the park house where that arrow is our two trash receptacles. So
Yeah, these are the closest ones right here. that I'm
Okay, these are the ones.
see
Okay.
that.
yeah, so
Okay.
that's
Those are-
not so far.
Okay,
I
then
just
that's
want
fine.
to say before we take a vote, Steve, where are we on the park house and fixing the men's and ladies' rooms facilities?
That maybe Rachel or I should comment on that. It's actually at Capitol. We do have an update to share.
Okay.
We have an estimate from engineering now, which is progress. You need to have that in order to get anywhere. So we've got a much better idea what the solution entails. So we're taking it from there. Progress has been made. We haven't yet determined the mechanism by which to perform the repair, but we have a lot more than we did last time we spoke.
Okay, so let me ask, what's the estimate? Do we now have to raise the funds? Or does the Parks Department have the funds?
Yeah, we're going to find them by hook or by crook. We'll find a way to fund it. We're not going to, we can't we can't delay this work trying to ask somebody for the funding.
Okay.
But John, correct me if I'm wrong, but we are still looking at means of doing this work prior to the capital project, and if that doesn't pan out, it will be incorporated into the capital project.
That's still the case. Obviously we would like to do it as soon as possible. But this project does present a potential, vehicle that could do that could perform that work. So that's why this would be the last, the absolute latest would be including it in this project. That's the current thinking. Yes.
That's really too bad because they're really well needed.
Well, no, but Judy, it's what we're saying is that if we cannot do it, our aim is still to do it in the short term.
In the short term.
If that doesn't work out, then we're going to include it in the capital project because
Okay.
the work has to get done.
Absolutely.
So that would be the way to get it done.
Okay.
If we can't do it prior to that point.
Okay, does someone want to, thank you very much. Does someone want to call the question?
I thought we already called the question.
Okay,
And
Sahar
voted.
did. Okay, is there anyone who is against or voting no or not voting for cause? John, I assume that everybody's approving, right?
Yeah, 7-member vote. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all from the Parks Department. Thank you for the great work that you did. And thank you for listening to the community and coming back with something that was acceptable to the community. And we really appreciate it. And
All right.
thank you, Tricia, very much for coming and joining us tonight. Felice?
Okay, yeah, now should we move to item number 3, which is the report from Robert McLean.
Okay, can I set this up for a split screen?
You got your screen 2.
And do you need anything, Robert?
What, here?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this or not.
Yes.
You can see it?
Yes.
Okay, Sheena, she was here just for about a couple of hours ago, but she had to leave. So I have, I know you guys are tired, so I'll try to go through this quickly. So one of the things, St. Catherine's Park, we have Saturday, October 11th, a Lou Gall band at 11 to noon, and that's for kids, right? So it's an event, and the kids can perform and engage with parents and guardians. The second thing that is Carl Schurz Park, there's an upcoming October event. Carl Schurz Park and the Halloween Howl, that is the dog costume event, on Sunday, October 20th from 1 p.m. to 3. It's organized by Carl Schurz Park Conservancy. Now, everyone is interested in the Rupert Park situation. So the capital project start date, the project is currently in procurement and anticipates a bid opening in the spring of 2026. Carl Schurz Park funding for the handrails is on all staircases on the 86 Plaza. No funding is available at present. A note will be kept for future upgrades. At Stanley Isaacs Playground, we appreciate your patience. We're at work to complete the repairs of the public restrooms. We aim to finish the repairs within the next month or so. In the meantime, we'll be adding a Porta Sands unit to the site for public usage. It's My Park Day is coming up next week. Rupert Park That is on a Saturday, the 18th, from 10 to 1 p.m. And St. Catherine's Park is on the 18th also, from 10 to 11. Samuel Seabury Park is on the 19th, Sunday, from 9 to 12. And then there's some street trees that's having some volunteers on 60th to 95th Street and 60th to 95th Street. And they are both on the 19th, Sunday. I have some people that are interested in the Greenway. That is an area of the park that I take care of from 53rd to 60th. And I work with some interns and volunteers. And so far, we started in July 4th. And so far, we've got 502 hours of volunteer help. And we've removed 168 garbage bags of weeds. And now every garden bed in that park has been weeded twice. And the garden beds by the Great Stairs have been weeded 3 times. So I'm in the process of getting another intern group, and they will, I talked to them last week. So they have another group that is going to be working with me in October. And that's all I have.
Well, thank you very much. I just want to make a correction. First place, could you send this list, if you haven't already, to John Kraus at the board office, Robert? St. Catherine's Park is not doing an event on the 18th, no. We already did our event last Saturday. Okay, so not the one they are having this Saturday, the 11th, but going down at the bottom of your list.
Yeah. Oh,
you have
but
St. Catherine's Park, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on 10/18/25.
they're not having it.
No, there's no event there that day.
Okay.
Okay, so that comes out. And I'm sorry, I didn't follow you. What are the street trees? Is that counting of the street trees?
I don't know. I don't know. I just caught this from some of the emails.
Okay.
I would think they're mulching it, but I mean, that's what I'm guessing.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Phyllis, and then Mary.
Hi. So last month we had a conversation about pickleball permits. And if you remember last April, I was able to get a pickleball permit for Carl Shores Park, and it was National Pickleball Month, and we had a 4-hour event. And Orlando was very helpful in helping us get that permit. So I had talked about this last time about I'm working with these artistic and special needs kids, and they want to start doing pickleball. And I applied for the permit. And as you know, and we had this discussion, you can only ask for a basketball permit, and then you put in the notes that you wanted for pickleball. So it seems we have 2 new people, and I'm going to not say his name right, Kennedy and David, and they kept rejecting the pickleball, the permit I requested, saying that they don't give pickleball permits. But you and I had this discussion last month saying we can get a permit, but it seems they're new in this permit department and they don't know what's going on. So I gave up. We didn't have the event, unfortunately. But as I said, we need a better way of doing this, and we need to make sure that the guys responsible for permitting and approving them, you know, when you put in the description that says, okay, it was only for 2 hours, Robert, that's all it was for. And I put in there that we wanted exactly what I put in April that Orlando had no problem with. So I don't know what to do and how do we get this to be better?
Can you help us with that?
Yeah, I can. Do you have my email address?
No, I don't. And I did tell them to reach out to you. I don't know if they did, but I did mention that you and I had talked about this, and they never got back to me via email after I reached out to them. Yeah, okay. So I guess he can just put it in the chat if you want. John can put it in the chat.
I tell you what, I'll give you my email address, and you give me a short paragraph exactly what happened, and I'll take it and I'll talk to the people tomorrow morning.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, it's Robert
Mhm.
and a period, and then my last name is McLean
Yep.
at Parks PARKS period NYC
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Robert.
period GOV.
Oh, .gov. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll take care of it tomorrow morning.
All right. Thank you, Robert. I will send that out to you, and I'll forward you some of the correspondence.
Okay.
Thanks. That was it. Thank you, everybody, for everything, by the way.
Thank you. And next up is Mary Chan.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. My question is, on the parks, My Park Day, you don't have John Jay Park there. Is there a reason why? Because I had mentioned like 2 or 3 meetings ago to Sheena that we didn't have any flowers or our bushes are dying there. I just wanted to know if we will be included in that one time.
These are the only events that I have. If you want, you could email me as well with your question, and I'll take care of it tomorrow.
Okay.
Because these are just the events. I think the events are planned with Partnerships for Park, and they're around the corner. And this is just the people that I have for District 8. I have another list for District 6.
Okay, because John Jay Park is in District 8.
Yes, what I'm saying is this is all I have.
Oh, okay.
If you want, email me. You have my address, I think, that if you heard. And I'll take care of it. I'll have to ask them, but.
Okay. All right, thank you so much.
Sure.
I also text you, man, just so you know.
Wait 1 second.
Could you explain to her that these are the ones where we have volunteer groups that have organized these events? We apparently don't have an organized group at John Jay. So it's not that we're neglecting the park. These are events which have been organized by volunteer groups. She would certainly be welcome to help us create a volunteer group for the park. We apparently don't have one.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I got Steve Simon here, my younger brother.
We heard. Thank you.
But that lady, if she would like to start a volunteer group, then she could work with partnerships. It's not that we're avoiding you, and I've never seen Steve Simon run this fast. I've been here for 20 years. He wanted to let you know we're not ignoring you, but you must get a.
No, I just wanted to know how they decided.
We're
There you go.
Yeah, do I need this?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, the list that Mike read off is a list of volunteer efforts that have been organized by friends groups that have been organized around those particular parks. We don't have a group, I believe, at the moment that's organized around John Jay, so that's why it doesn't appear on that list. That's completely aside from the regular work that we would be doing in the park. So if you spoke to Sheena about doing something, that's maybe something that she's addressing with our own staff, but it's not part of the It's My Park Day volunteer program. Certainly, we could use a friends group at John Jay, and the one that we've had there apparently is now inactive. If you want to work with our Partnerships for Parks outreach people to create a group, we would certainly welcome you to do that.
Okay, so should I get in touch with Sheena about it?
Or you can get in touch with Mike, who's already given you his email address, and he can put you in touch with the people in our Partnerships for Parks unit, and that's their specialty, organizing the volunteer groups around these efforts.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for because we certainly could use some more activism at John Jay.
Yes, thank you. And so does John Jay needs it. Thank you.
All right. Well, you can step right in and meet that need.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Great. Are there any other items? Okay, there being no further comments or questions, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Barry. Okay. Seconded by Judy. Well, thank you,
Second. Okay.
everybody. Have a great evening.
Yes, and John, would you please email Felice and myself this list that's up on the screen that Robert prepared?